Hey guys, Stucky here. You ever wanted to try the best version of the Action Network app? Well, now is the perfect opportunity to do so because we have a special offer to celebrate the month of March and the NCAA tournament. You can get pro access for just $9.99 for the first month. That will give you access to things like Sean Kerner's player prop projections, which are invaluable, real-time money percentages, and our model's biggest edges, and much more. All you have to do is head over to actionnetwork.com/madness. That's actionnetwork.com/madness and get there before the deal expires. Cheers. We have one final conference to get to in today's preview, and that is the NEC. I want to talk about a format that does not reward the top seed, which is Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut, let's look back at some of their teams. Central Connecticut, which is the one overall seed because Merrimack lost at Sacred Heart in the finale.
Horrific loss, Duck. Horrific loss for Merrimack.
Yeah, could have had the outright regular season title, but they lose. They end up tying. They lose the tiebreaker because of their respective records against Sacred Heart. And as a result, they get the 2 seed. What does that mean? Not only do you not get the outright regular season title, but if you both get to Central Connecticut and Merrimack get to the championship, the game will be played on Central Connecticut's home court. And this Central Connecticut team, just looking at KenPom ratings, let's start in let's go the past 10 years. 305, 344, 351, 341, 310, 321, 347 in 2020, 345 in 2021, 346 in 2022, 339 in 2023, and all the way up to 253. So Patrick Sellers has done a great job with this team this season to get them the #1 overall seed. Their only losses this season in league play, twice to Moyne. And it's worth noting that Moyne is not eligible for the NCAA tournament. So if they end up winning this, then the runner-up would get the bid, which is just so stupid. But Moyne did sweep Central Connecticut. If Moyne beats Fairleigh Dickinson, then they would face, presumably, Central Connecticut, assuming they get by St. Francis, in the semis, which is interesting. And Central Connecticut's other loss came against Merrimack, who they split with. Looking at the odds to win this tournament, Central Connecticut and Merrimack, the clear favorites as the 1 and 2 seed. They're both sitting at around +120. 8 teams made this bracket. There are no buys. So everyone starts out on Wednesday. You play the semis on Saturday, and then you play the championship on Tuesday. I did say Moyne would play Central Connecticut. I don't know that for sure. They do reseed. So that's if the chalk holds. They reseed after every round, and all these games are played on campus sites. So reseed, higher seed then hosts each respective round. Merrimack will start with Long Island and then play the winner of Sacred Heart Wagner. I think what's worth noting here is I think the best unit, so the best single unit offense or defense is the Merrimack extended 2-3 matchup zone. Their defense, they're super aggressive. They force turnovers at a top 5 rate nationally. It's just a stifling defense that's so well schooled. Now, as the 2 seed with a pretty flawed offense, their offense is ugly. There's no two ways about it. I'm not in a rush to bet them +120. And I'm also not in a rush to bet Central Connecticut at +120. I do have a long shot I'm targeting. Be curious to get your thoughts on the NEC.
Yeah, a couple things. First, Merrimack, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stuck. They had to sit out 4 years. So from the tournament. So last year, they actually beat Fairleigh Dickinson, but they couldn't get in the tournament. That's how Fairleigh Dickinson got on, and of course, made their incredible run. So you would think that Merrimack at home against Sacred Heart, who was the preseason favorite and has been really disappointing under Anthony Latina. I mean, everything pointed to this being their year. Early in the year, Stuck, I saw them play. They did this 5-in, 5-out stuff that Sacred Heart likes to do. It just wasn't working. Nice win at the end, but don't trust them whatsoever. Central Connecticut, I actually have been impressed with. I saw them against Fordham. I saw them play Fordham there with their guards. Gene Ross, Jones, Amos, those guys can attack the basket. They're athletic. They're relentless. I agree. The numbers aren't high. It's a little odd there. Moyne has me certainly interested in the NEC, given it the way they played. I'm curious for your long shot here, but Merrimack seems so good. They are great with the turnovers. They're terrible on the boards because they play zone, of course, but just a real disappointing loss to Sacred Heart, which makes me think, given the way things happened last year, we're going to get a refocused Merrimack in this tournament. I just don't know about the odds there right now. So if I had, I'm definitely not betting Sacred Heart. I'm off of Sacred Heart. I'm not getting thrown off by that win. Don't trust them. Too inconsistent. Turn the ball over. And Stuck, look at Sacred Heart. I think they gave up like 88 points to Fairleigh Dickinson this year. I mean, they are not good at all. So while I think Merrimack and Central Connecticut are the class here, the NEC, I'm curious for your long shot because I think they're vulnerable.
Yeah, Sacred Heart can hit threes. I mean, they shot 39% in league play, but their zone offense, I mean, they did carve up Merrimack. They scored 89 in the finale. Their zone offense hasn't graded out well this season, but you know, they can hit threes. They arguably have the best offense, but I don't trust their defense, and they can't rebound. And Lemoyne, yeah, I mean, I guess Lemoyne, you're playing with like nothing to lose attitude here. Right. Can't go to the tournament, and they are a high variance team, and they swept Central Connecticut. Lemoyne, what are they going to do? Shoot a ton of threes, and they give up a ton of threes. Top 20 in the nation in 3-point attempt rate, bottom 20 in 3-point attempt rate allowed. So there's going to be a lot of 3-pointers in their games. So just shooting variance alone makes them intriguing in a format where you just got to win 3 games in 3 days. I'll throw out this is ugly, but you could find 30-1 out there. I haven't checked everywhere, so I got to shop around. A Wagner.
I thought it had to be Wagner. I'm like, where's he going? It has to be Wagner. That's the only other option. Go ahead.
So yeah, it's definitely not St. Francis. It's definitely not Long Island.
Right.
So here's my case for Wagner. Now, there's a couple things. You know, for what it's worth, they split. First off, they have a horrendous home court advantage. So they're going to have to win 3 road games, but they don't have a bench. But that doesn't matter. You got to win Wednesday, Saturday, and Tuesday, and they have one of the worst home court advantages in the country. So, like, I don't care that they have to play on the road. And they're in Staten Island. It's not like they're getting raucous crowds at their games. So whatever. And they don't have a bench. They got to go on the road. It doesn't hurt them in this format. But my case for Wagner is, first of all, they split with Merrimack. They each won on each other's home court. They lost to Central Connecticut twice, the top seed, by a combined 2 points. And their loss on the road came in overtime. So they were right there in, you know, they could have easily won 3 of 4 against the top 2 seeds. And that loss in overtime came without their starting shooting guard, Jordan Brown. It was the only game he missed this year. Julian Brown. It's the only game he missed this year. But if they can upset Sacred Heart, it plays no defense, then they'd almost certainly face Merrimack, and it's not the worst matchup, since what do you need to do against Merrimack? You have to take care of the ball. Wagner does do that. And you have to dominate on the glass. And that's Wagner's strength on both ends of the floor. That's where Merrimack's extremely vulnerable. They could force you into a turnover. That's their best offense, and they do it at a top 5 rate nationally. But Wagner doesn't turn the ball over. Second in league play in turnover rate, second in league play in offensive rebound rate, second in league play in defensive rebound rate. And they're gonna press, they extend their pressure. So a lot of teams are in transition, but they're elite in transition defense. 98th percentile for synergy. That's important because look at the top 3 seeds: Sacred Heart, Central Connecticut, Merrimack. 96th, 91st, 97th percentile in transition frequency with poor half-court offenses. So, and the other thing that I'll add in here, Wagner, absolute snail. They want to grind the game down to a halt. They're 360th in adjusted tempo. Only North Texas and Virginia are slower. What does that mean? Increased variance, lower possessions, increased variance for an underdog. So, yeah, in a league where like all of these teams are pretty bad, Wagner can do some things that can give the top seeds trouble, as they showed during the regular season. Split with Merrimack, almost beat Central Connecticut twice, but they can rebound the ball. They don't turn it over. Now their offense stinks, but yeah, I think Wagner at 30-1 is at least worth a peek.
I will tell you, I'll back you up on this. Wagner's beaten Sacred Heart. I truly believe that. So then with the reseeding, they would probably play Central Connecticut. I will disagree with you. I don't think they're going to beat Sacred Heart and then Central Connecticut and then potentially Merrimack. That I think is too much. But at the value you have them at, they make the championship. You're finding a way to make some money. So I love it. I think they're beating Sacred Heart. The matchup with Central Connecticut is perfect. Like you said, make some shots, slow the game down, variance. And certainly the top 2 teams are weak. So I'm with you on that. I tend to lean that it's either going to be Central Connecticut or Merrimack winning this one. And I hate Sacred Heart. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, you are right that if Wagner won, they would face Central Connecticut unless either St. Francis or Long Island
LIU,
won, which
right?
Which I can't see happening. But yeah, like I said, they took Central Connecticut 2 overtime at Central Connecticut, lost by 1, and then lost by 1 in their other meeting, and they're just going to grind the game down to a halt, ugly it up. So I think they'll at least have a chance. I will say, if I had to choose between Merrimack and Central Connecticut, you mentioned Central Connecticut, like with their guards, rim attacking offense. They just want to get to the rim with reckless abandon. But that's really tough against the Merrimack zone, which is kind of an antidote to that. So if I had to choose, like if you're in a pool or something, who would win, who's going to win this tournament? I know they'd have to play at Central Connecticut State, but Merrimack, who won it last year, couldn't get to the big dance. I think Merrimack and that zone, I think they're winning it under Joe Gallo. So that's my pick to win it. How about you? Who are you picking to win?
I think it's Merrimack Wagner, and I think Merrimack wins. I think they were playing so well, Stuck, and I think the Sacred Heart was a bad loss. They did close it late. They were down big, closed it to 3. I think Merrimack gets in. They should have been in last year. They weren't eligible. They're eligible this year. I think they get it done, but I like them playing Wagner in the finals. It's a great call.
Yeah, Merrimack wasn't even allowed to play in...
They've been playing the tournament, conference tournament. Yep.
In the conference tournament in 2022 or 2021, and in 2020
there was no tournament because of COVID, right?
No, I think they actually played theirs. Yeah, Robert Morris won. They played it early.
They got done. Okay.
Robert Morris won it, but in that in 2020, Merrimack won the regular season championship. They went 14-4, and they weren't allowed to compete in the this is a long time coming for the Warriors. I think they're going to get it done, but if I had to pick a long shot, it's Wagner, just because of their style and some of the things that they can do in uglying up the game. It's finally March, so you know what that means. It's time to say top of the morning to the most famous St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shavers, our new sponsor, Manscaped. Don't just chase rainbows this March. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below-the-kilt care. Clear your clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and use code BBOC for 20% off plus free shipping. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is your new lucky charm, and it's fully waterproof. So go ahead, shave by the misty moors, shave under a waterfall, shave while betting a second half total. The world is yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with code BBOC at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code BBOC at manscaped.com. This St. Patrick's Day, make sure your hairy little leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped.